Hey everybody, it's Rudy with Alpha Investments. Ha, you thought the sound was fucked up. Ha. Anyways, today we're going to discuss the Forbidden Orchards and all the videos. Fine, I can hear everybody and I can see you guys already down there going, "Jeez, it took them long enough. Good Lord." All right, so been working on an experiment, and the experiment is to buy out expeditions. I've been buying an extremely large amount of Zendikar expeditions. Very similar to the Kaladesh invention box and the Kaladesh cash grab type of thing. The good news with the whole thing is I learned a lot. It was a very, very fascinating type of approach. The bad news is when we talk about Wizards' massive overprinting, and you guys all hear me bitching on the internet and on YouTube talking about how I just think it's overdone. There's too many just throttle back, printing to oblivion. Homeless people are living in Zendikar boxes in their head. We've talked about this thing. Well, I've even said it, but I don't think even I fully grasp the intensity of it. So I'm going to share you guys the results of this particular experiment that I've been doing over about a 4-month period. That I think most people will really, I think you'll appreciate the results, and you'll find it very, very intriguing based on how I did it. Because you guys know I don't like doing a full-blown buyout like Lion's Eye, Diamond, Moat, and all the other reserved list, Alpha, Beta, or the Legends, Antiquities type of cards. Because you jolt the market. When you jolt the market, it's very difficult to predict when all the dust settles, how high is that pile going to be, how low. It's very difficult to predict the price point when everything settles. So, Creepy Rudy paired up with Greedy Rudy. We had a meeting in the boardroom in the backyard. We called the Bobs in. We got Timmy in there. We said, all right, we're ready to park money. We're ready to move into the Zendikar expeditions. How are we going to do it? What do we need to do? And what is the angle we want? How do we want to move into it in full-blown stealth ninja mode? So after throwing a lot of ideas around, and obviously the very first thing we ruled out is we didn't like the idea of going to the market, TCG Player, Troll and Toad, Star Cities, ABU Games, DA Card, Blowout Card, eBay, Amazon. We didn't want to go to everybody and do a full drop the hammer, because we predicted that 30 to 40% of the orders would be canceled and then relisted at a higher price, which, no shocker, it's just a business. I mean, you can't be mad at the people. Number two, the other 60% of the orders that we did fulfill, it would be such an attention-grabbing type of scenario, it would end up on MTG stocks and Goldfish as a, market mover or highest percentage gain. It starts, you get attention. Just like everything, even in the real world, non-magic, anything. When you do a heavy hit, or you move very quickly, the faster you move, the more collateral damage that you're going to leave in your wake. And we don't want to leave a trail behind us. So I've been buying a shit ton of Zendikar expeditions. My rationale was I felt it's a good time to do it. Zendikar's been out for quite a while. We are pretty much ending our 2-year cool-off period. Zendikar's been out for quite a while now. Wizards is pretty much either shutting the valve off or pretty much getting ready to. The only negative side is there is, even to this day, every single distributor across the country still holds a very significant position in Zendikar Expedition homeless people hats. And until the hat population goes down, I haven't been happy with the results. I didn't lose any money because, for example, and you guys I'm sure you're all going to price check me, on Forbidden Orchards, the goal was to buy one of every expedition almost every single day for literally 120 days straight. That kind of setup, that kind of design, that plan. And for the most part, I think it worked and I think it failed at the same time. The part that did work is we were able to accumulate the position, mostly in Forbidden Orchards and some others, as you can see in the background. But the bad side and the downside to the whole thing was the market depth on these type of cards is extremely deep. We're talking dark web, deep web type of trench shit. We're talking you need a torrent browser to go through this stuff. We're talking, I was very, very surprised at the depth. Because in all reality, think about this, in all reality, let's use for easy math. Let's say I know there's 1.4 expeditions in every, case type of thing. Let's pretend, just for a moment, let's pretend you get one let's pretend you get one Forbidden Orchard in every 3 booster boxes. Or I apologize. You get one expedition in every 3 booster boxes. Okay? Zendikar contains X amount of expeditions. I think 25, 35, I think it was. So you're literally looking at how many boxes are there in a large sample size until you will actually pretty much average out to getting one Forbidden Orchard on X amount of boxes. What does that come out to be? Well, if you get one expedition every 3 boxes, and for example, let's say there's 30 possible slots of expeditions in Battle for Zendikar Homeless People hats, that means literally every 180 booster boxes, 1 in 3, and then 30 different. Actually, I apologize, that's 90. You're looking at every 90 booster boxes, for example, that you should be able to get a Zendikar or a Forbidden Orchard. That's the theory. So if you can only get one card in every 100 boxes, that seems like a pretty good rarity. In the grand scheme, if you pick up 100 Forbidden Orchards or 200 Forbidden Orchards, it seems like a pretty good odds that not a lot of homeless people are going to have those cards. And it's pretty good odds that as time goes on, once that valve gets turned off, that you should be able to sit with most of the Forbidden Orchards in circulation. So the key is, will it work? And the answer is no. Because the problem is, they really overprinted Zendikar. Like, when I knew they overprinted with the homeless people and the Zendikar hats, I had no idea. It was like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of booster boxes. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's literally like 500,000 booster boxes that were printed. And honestly, I'd be a little surprised if it was 1 million booster boxes, but I feel like it's literally 500,000 to 600,000 booster boxes of like Zendikar was printed between all distributors and Wizards allocation. I mean, the number is just, it's astronomical. And the indicator I'm kind of using is the expedition price points. If you look at something like, okay, Creepy Rudy every day bought a Forbidden Orchard. Okay? After 4 months in a row of removing that many Forbidden Orchards from the system, you go on TCG Player, and there are still 80 different independent sellers with between 1 and 3 Forbidden Orchards each available. That's a pretty ballsy number. That's pretty... Now, when I first started, don't get me wrong, there were 120 sellers on TCG Player, for example, with up to 10 Forbidden Orchards each. The volume and the supply was higher. There is a noticeable difference in the amount of supply of Forbidden Orchards in existence right now compared to before I started, and since I've removed a couple hundred from circulation of one particular expedition. There is a noticeable difference when I compare that statistic to all the other expeditions in the same set over the same time period. When we trace the data, we did notice a difference. So, Philosophical Rudy has to say, okay, if that removed supply, why is the price of Forbidden Orchard pretty much still flatlined at $30 a card, and every once in a while maybe $28, $29? I purchased every single Forbidden Orchard below $26 in the country over the last 4 months, or in the world, period. That was for sale. eBay, TCG Player, and a few websites. If it was below 26, I owned it. It's not for sale. That's what I did, because at the end of the day, $26 expeditions on a card like that, we're not talking one of the crappy expeditions that are, the ones designed for that set. I forgot the name offhand. But, I consider cards like that and a few others pretty decent. And you just kind of have to say, well, damn. If you can remove that much from circulation, what's the real value of these? You pull up a chart over 12 months, and they still go down in value. I mean, they're not tanking. They're pretty flatlined, but there's still a slow drift downwards. So you're kind of sitting here thinking, wow, Rudy, that's really interesting. You regret it? Was it a waste of money? Well, not really, because, the card is still, on average, selling on eBay for between $30 and $35 a card, and I don't know what TCG Player sales are. They don't tell anybody. So overall, I didn't really lose money, and I'm very happy that the experiment did take place, but I'm not happy with what I learned from the experiment. I really thought for sure, very similar to the Kaladesh Inventions, the Snowman box, aka Cash Grab, aka the infamous video on YouTube I did. I thought for sure that removing that much supply of expeditions, if you remove hundreds of one expedition, even if I bumped it up to removing 400 or 500 of Forbidden Orchards, I think in order for me to actually move the market on an expedition, I would need to do 500 to 1,000 of each expedition out there. And if you get to Scolding Tarns and Flooded Strands, you're talking, tremendous money, which it isn't worth it. The investment opportunity, which I thought 2 years after a cool-off period, for Battle for Zendikar, the original lottery cards, the original expeditions, I really thought that stuff was going to be, the shit. I really thought these things on a large scale were going to be the shit. And I was wrong. The thing I was wrong about was, again, the print run on Battle for Zendikar is nowhere near the print run on something like Origins. The Origins boxes out there are substantially lower compared to Battle for Zendikar Homeless People hats. So, and I know I'm going to get all kinds of comments and people at the bottom here. I want to see what everyone says about it. Or, Rudy, you just didn't move enough from the market. Rudy, you should have been more aggressive. I want to see everyone else's opinion. But at the end of the day, the purpose of this was to learn the depth of the market. And that experiment was successful. I did learn the depth. And the depth was the most important aspect to me for looking at Battle for Zen and Oath of the Gatewatch moving forward as they cycle out. Ironically, Wizards did a last call and shut down production in Oath of the Gatewatch booster boxes before Battle for Zendikar booster boxes, which is very strange because Oath of the Gatewatch didn't do as good as Battle for Zen. And ironically, that's the one that was cut down first before Battle for Zen. So why is that? What caused that? So, when you look at the results of it, I've been analyzing it. I've been thinking about it. I'm really excited. I really want to know what you all think of that. I really want some good, intricate opinions on, number one, removing supply of any of these type of newer cards. It shows the lack of, it's just not smart to do. You're not going to lose money if you get cheap enough, but you're not going to make any money. It's dead money. You're losing opportunity costs. You're losing the opportunity to pretty much park it elsewhere, reserved lists or sealed boxes. But it's something I had to know. It's something I really wanted to learn. And this is something I wanted to share with everybody. I couldn't tell everybody, hey, over the next 4 months, I'm going to buy all of A, B, and C. Because I didn't want other people to affect the experiment I was doing. And it worked perfectly because I didn't want outside influence to skew my data. And the data that was most important that I learned, the number 1 and 2 things I learned was the print run for Battle for Zen, although ridiculous, is extremely ridiculous. It is just stupidly ridiculous. And I can't even emphasize to you guys, just you can't invest in it. You just can't do it. Now, I'm not telling you guys that in 5, 10, 20 years from now, there's not going to be collectors wanting to collect these old special insert cards, because there always will be. But the fact that most of these are reprints, and I still think moving forward, we're going to see expedition reprints of more expeditions. A reprint expedition of another reprint, which was originally a regular reprint. That's the era we're in. And that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. So I really want to share this, and I'm hoping that everybody out there watching this can take something away from this video, and you can learn and say, okay, well, you guys saw what Rudy did on YouTube, and, he talked about that. That was very interesting. So if I ever want to do A, B, or C, I just want you all to be aware of something that has been tested, and I have the results, and I want to share them with you guys. Whether or not you agree with a smart idea or stupid, or look at this asshole manipulating, or Rudy's the reason Magic's expensive, whatever your opinion is, that's fine, but I just want to share the results of, it just shows that people can buy cheaper versions. Not everybody wants to pimp out their deck. It shows that the print run is really that bad. It shows that demand, even at cheap prices, is very weak. Very weak. I mean, Forbidden Orchards, when Battle for Zen came out, were $70 to $90. Then 60s, then 50s, then 40s. And I've been buying these things at 26 to 27. I mean, I've been buying some other ones, crappy ones, the Core Havens, and some other. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. I want to give you guys an example. Like the Grave. Let's see, Mystic Gate, Firelit Thicket. Firelit Thicket. I've been buying some of these other ones for like $28 to $30 a piece. I mean, are you guys kidding me? To me, an expedition for under $30. Even some of these Firelit Thickets in the Grave, was it Grave Cairns, I think? I can't pronounce that. And you know, you put that with Forbidden Orchard, even Core Haven, some other ones. I'm like, dude, these prices. I didn't think the expedition prices would be literally 20. They're now $20 to $25, some of this stuff. And to me, this is a cautionary message to all of you all out there to just be aware that this is what's going on. And we're going to close the whole case on the Forbidden Orchards. And it was a test experiment of a slow drip buyout. So at this point, this is Rudy with Alpha Investments. Hope you guys are enjoying your December. And as far as this whole experiment, we're going to let bygones be flygons. That's so stupid.